What is up, you guys? I'm charmx. Today I'm going to be reacting to a film theory, Is Dory a Liar? Finding Dory Part 2 by the film theorist. Now, the other day I reacted to the first part, and yeah, basically for the majority of the video, he kind of argued against himself, and he gave all the reasons why Dory is probably telling the truth and that she actually has amnesia, or she has short-term memory loss or something like that. But at the end of the first part, he kind of brought a little bit of evidence against Dory, so I guess the second part here is going to be the conclusion. Is Dory lying, or isn't she, about her memory problems? So yeah, with that being said, hopefully this is going to be quite interesting. Hopefully the film theorist brings a lot of evidence to the table. Without any further ado, let's begin.
Previously on Film Theory.
Hey, I've seen a boat.
How could Dory remember the boat, but then forget meeting Marlin? I am on to you, Ellen DeGeneres.
Keep swimming, swimming, swimming.
Finding Dory? More like exposing Dory. The truth is coming out. Dory doesn't suffer from short-term memory loss. She's faking it.
That's what I'm saying, you better have a lot of evidence to back up this claim.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film... Wait, what was I saying? See, if I had anterograde amnesia like Dory claims, I wouldn't remember what I'm supposed to say here. But as we talked about last time, Dory doesn't have anterograde amnesia. She's faking her condition to look weaker and have the other fish underestimate her abilities. It's a survival tactic. Oh, sure, everything seems to check out. She can't remember Marlin's name, she forgets where she is, can't even remember what happened to her parents. But as we found last episode, she slips up. She remembers seeing the boat that took Nemo, even after she claims to forget who Marlin is. This fact...
Well, in Finding Dory, doesn't she remember who Marlin is in it? Because I'm pretty sure that she does.
Act of seeing the boat should fall under declarative memory, which, if she was truly suffering from short-term memory loss, she should have forgotten. You've painted yourself into a corner, Dory, and that's not the only piece of evidence I have against you. Today, we're throwing the book at Dory to show that appearances can be deceiving, and to get you to view Finding Dory in a whole new context. And here's the crazy thing. To start exposing Dory's lies, we don't even need to look that deep. It all begins with the single most basic fact about Dory, the type of fish she is. Now, Finding Nemo never specifies her species, but judging by her blue body and the black design running out to her yellow tail, we can confidently say that Dory is a blue tang, also known as a Paracantharus hepatus, Latin for incredibly hard to pronounce. These fish tend to be relatively small, growing up to only 12 inches when they reach adulthood, and look at that peaceful majesty.
What do you mean 12 inches? 12 inches is pretty big, isn't it? Like, that's a foot. A foot's freaking huge. What do you mean that's a small fish?
And yet, it's time to explore some true facts about the blue tang. That curvy blue body hides a caudal spine, which extends out when threatened, slashing and wounding predators. That makes Dory like the Wolverine of fish. Snicked indeed. And that's not all. If consumed by humans, blue tangs may cause poisoning. And some blue tang fish even have venomous glands
Is that true? I didn't know that.
in their fins. Wow, Dory is far less cute than Finding Nemo would have you believe. Behind that angelic blue body and a freckled big-eyed face lurks a venomous monster. Zay Frank, I miss you and your True Facts series. Come back to YouTube. Come back! But okay, let's go back to the whole
Yeah, I've missed Zay Frank as well. I haven't seen a Zay Frank video in a long time.
memory loss thing. Dory states that the source of our short-term memory loss is hereditary.
I forget things almost instantly. It runs in my family.
This may be a simple reference to the old myth of goldfish memory, the belief that fish are dumb and have short memory spans, only able to recall events for about 3 seconds or so. This, though, is just not true. Not a true fact about the blue tang. Fish actually have surprisingly strong memories, lasting for up to a year. Carp that have been caught by...
Really? That's crazy. Yeah, I always heard that goldfish had really bad memories, that they could, it was like 7 seconds or something like that. But apparently they can remember up to a year.
Fishermen have been seen to avoid hooks for up to a year afterwards. Researchers even discovered that they could learn to associate certain sounds with food and then remember it 5 months later. There is ample evidence that fish are just as intelligent as mammals, capable of the same intellectual feats as rats or mice. They can learn their way around mazes, they can learn to recognize other fish, and they can remember prey from predator. Thus, we can't dismiss Dory's short-term memory loss as just being symptomatic of her being a fish. So the question remains then, can you inherit short-term memory loss from your parents? The answer here, once again, is a big no. Short-term memory loss is typically caused in one of two ways: drug and alcohol abuse or severe brain trauma.
Looks like Dory has a darker past than we knew.
Benzodiazepine drugs, typically used to treat panic attacks, if misused, can cause amnesia-induced side effects. Drinking a bunch of alcohol can cause blackouts, which blocks the brain's ability to transfer short-term memories into long-term memory. So if you go out on a late-night bender and can't remember what happened to you the night before, congratulations, you just gave yourself anterograde amnesia. A winner is you. And chronic alcoholism can lead to Korsakoff syndrome, where brain cells are unable to produce enough energy, and as a result, break down and cause permanent anterograde amnesia. So unless Dory is regularly swimming her way out of a bourbon bottle, it's not gonna do it. Although, that would be a very different movie. New from Pixar, an uplifting family-friendly story of one fish's struggle to combat alcoholism. Coming this summer, Finding Dory.
I think I'd actually like it better than Finding Dory. I mean, I liked Finding Dory, but I think that'd be much better, or a crazier plot if she was like an alcoholic.
In the gutter.
Rated R.
On the other side, traumatic brain injury, typically to the hippocampus and surrounding cortices, can also cause anterograde amnesia. Or to treat a serious disorder like epilepsy or a tumor, patients will have parts of their brain removed. These procedures successfully cure the disorder, but can often result in anterograde amnesia. Notice though that none of these instances, brain trauma, alcohol, and drug abuse, are hereditary. In fact, there is no scientific proof that anterograde amnesia has ever been passed down genetically. None. Dory, unless she's a unicorn of biology, quite simply is lying about the cause of her amnesia, which again throws into question her having amnesia in the first place. But that sounds crazy, right?
Alright, let's see, you do have some points here. But at the same time, I think with a lot of movies, the writers behind them, the writers don't think this far ahead. I mean, they're not thinking of this crazy scheme or this crazy plot. They're just like, alright, how do we get this done? How do we write it well? You know, and let's get it over with, because we got other stuff to do. I don't think the writers go into this, like, crazy amount of thought just to make a movie. I really don't. I think, you know, the Matt Pat grasps for things in a lot of videos, and for a portion of them, I think he is correct. Like, especially with, like, the Pennywise one, and some of the other ones. But with this particular movie, I just think the writers behind it didn't think this far ahead. I think the reason why Dory remembered the boat, or remembered seeing the boat, is because the writers were like, you know, we have to make the story go further. Let's just say that Dory remembered the boat. So that's what I'm thinking, if that makes any sense. I think I have amnesia.
Right? People faking an illness as extreme as amnesia. But here's the thing, it's not as crazy as it sounds. In fact, it's so common it even has a name. Faking amnesia would be considered a type of malingering, in which people fake symptoms of an illness to achieve some goal. Getting out of work, getting taken care of, or in Dory's case, increasing your odds of survival in the dangerous ocean. So, outside of the scientific inconsistencies in her story, how do we outright prove that she's malingering? Well, it's not as hard as you might think. Most fakers tend to Ferris Bueller their symptoms, over-exaggerate them by putting in extra effort to make them look sick.
The key to faking out the parents is the clammy hands.
Take for instance the hand coin test. If I put a quarter in my right hand, you can easily tell me which hand the coin is in. Unless, of course, you weren't paying attention, XX Pixar Lover 15. There's always one of you. Jeez, you think I do these videos for my health or something? I'm doing this for you. Anyway, to catch you up, the coin is in my right hand. Amnesiacs, though, can't remember which hand the coin is in and are forced to guess, meaning that by the laws of probability, they'll guess correctly around 50% of the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Where's the strong evidence
Fakers, though, will exaggerate their bad performance. They'll remember which hand the coin is in, and to look sick, will deliberately choose the wrong one. As a result, their tally of correct to incorrect guesses will be below chance. They're throwing the test, but they're throwing it a bit too hard. And when it comes to short-term memory loss, there's a bunch of proven scientific tests to catch you in the act. These tests are referred to as symptom validity tests.
Okay, so I think I have an idea of what he's trying to say here. It's something along the lines of, you know, if you're actually faking it and you try to swing it to make it look as if you are, like, legit, now you don't remember, you're gonna swing it too much so that it'll actually prove that, you are faking, if that makes sense. I can't form thoughts!
For example, the test of memory malingering, otherwise known as TOM, is a 50-question visual recognition test where examinees are shown 50 drawings, numbers, words, or symbols for around 3 seconds each. After all the drawings have been shown, the examiner then shows the examinees 2 different drawings, one from the 50 previously shown and one new one. The examinee is then asked to name which of the 2 drawings he had previously seen. By purely guessing, an amnesiac would score 50% right. And across all of these tests, it was found that suspected malingerers scored worse than actual anterograde amnesiacs.
Because they were aware of which was new, so they chose the wrong one on purpose. That way the percentage wouldn't be 50-50. I think that's what, right? Right?
And that's not all. Malingerers tend to have a slower response time to questions. They take great pains in answering, as if they're struggling to figure out what the correct answer was. Ooh, that's a tough one. True amnesiacs, however, tend not to have that much delay between question and answer. And finally, psychologists use what's known as the primacy effect to test so-called amnesiacs. This is the tendency to more easily remember items from the beginning of a list rather than the middle. So if I give you the numbers 829635596 you're most likely to remember the number 8 because it was the first number of the bunch. Fakers
That's true. That's what I remember.
show this effect. People with amnesia don't. Knowing all that, look at
I guess I don't have it. I guess I don't have frig off! I guess I don't have amnesia. Oh my goodness.
Dory. Dory, like most malingerers, consistently answer questions wrong, far below mere chance. Midway through Finding Nemo, a school of fish try to give Dory directions by showing her a number of different sea creatures. However, Dory is unable to identify a single one, failing to recognize a swordfish, a lobster, and an octopus. Now, you're probably thinking, hey, MatPat, give Dory a break. Maybe she can't remember what an octopus or swordfish are called. She does have anterograde amnesia, after all. Except, Dory previously has shown that she has quite a knack for remembering different aquatic life. She easily identifies a shark,
Hey, look, shark!
a whale,
Oh, big fella, whale.
even a seagull.
Mine.
So how come right then and there, she's unable to come up with 3 very
That is a good point. It is a good point. But as I said, I don't think the writers who wrote the movie thought this far ahead. You know, I think they just thought of stuff at the time. And then went with that.
very common sea creatures? Sure, maybe she can't name 1 or 2, but all 3? It's almost like she's deliberately getting them wrong, playing into her short-term memory loss, answering way below chance. And in that scene, Dory agonizes over her answers,
Wait,
Swordfish.
Where's the butter?
oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
much like a malingerer would. She exaggerates her condition, a telltale sign of a faker. You want more proof? Look no further than all the times Dory gets Nemo's name wrong. She calls him Fabio, Chico, Bingo, Harpo, Elmo. Now, the fact that Dory can't remember Nemo's name is consistent with anterograde amnesia, but look closely at all the names she calls him. They all end with an O, just like Nemo. But someone really suffering from anterograde amnesia would be just as likely to call Nemo John, or Paul, or Ringo. They would have no idea, no context that his name would end with an O. The very fact that Dory chooses names that are close to Nemo, but not quite, is proof that she remembers his name and is deliberately struggling and trying to get them wrong.
See, I think you have a point here. I think you have a point, and I think you're correct with it too. But as I said, I don't think the writers thought this far ahead. I think they just thought of stuff at the moment, you know? Like, who's gonna think so far ahead to do all this complex stuff? Just to, like, it just seems like it's so much work that the writers wouldn't do that. They'd come up with a concept like, you know, Dory is a fish, we have her design, we have that she has amnesia, and we're just gonna roll with that. And then when they go through the script, and they're writing the script, they kind of go based off of the character. They're not thinking of all these complex things for the character. They just have a simple design for the character, and they go with that.
Dory even recalls information in accordance with the primacy effect. She memorizes the address for where Nemo is being held, P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney, yet in her moving speech to Marlin at the end of the movie, she struggles to remember the complete address, only able to identify the beginning, just like a faker would.
P. Sherman, 42.
In fact, throughout Finding Nemo, Dory shows inconsistent base knowledge. When she meets Bruce the shark, she's not scared at all, like she doesn't know what sharks are or that they eat fish. Yet later, after discovering a scuba mask, she correctly identifies sharks below her.
Hey, look, shark!
And then one more time, by the end of the film, she tells the sharks to remember not to eat fish.
Remember, fish are friends.
Not food. Bye.
So which way is it, Dory? Do you remember what a shark is or not? Do you remember that they eat fish or not? Because if you didn't know that they eat fish the first time you met them, then you shouldn't remember hours and days later at the end of the movie when you see them again. So which is it, Dory? Do you know whether sharks eat fish or not? Checkmate! Checkmate, you fictional, computer-animated fish, you. We gotcha. So you always thought Finding Nemo was a wholesome tale about a good-hearted father finding his kidnapped son with the help of a lovable but simple-minded companion. Nope. Let me break down what's really happening here. Dory...
As I said, I think you're correct in saying that she doesn't have amnesia. Maybe she doesn't have amnesia, but maybe she just has bad memory issues. So, like, I have bad memory issues, not to the extent of which Dory has, but maybe she has bad memory issues, and maybe she does not have amnesia.
Completely alone, sees another lone fish, screaming about his missing child, a kindred spirit, an easy mark. Dory uses her perceived weakness to trick predators like the shark, whale, jellyfish, anglerfish, who all just buy what Dory's selling. When Marlin attempts to get away from her, Dory immediately begins to cry, emotionally manipulating the clownfish to take her along with him. Over the course of the film, she pretends to slowly get better, linking her perceived progress with Marlin. Now, Marlin can't leave Dory out of guilt because he thinks he's the only thing keeping her together. And that is the true story of Finding Nemo, how a con artist manipulated the emotions of a grieving father into letting her into his home. But hey, that's just a theory.
See, I think you're correct in assuming or saying that she doesn't have amnesia, because there's so much evidence that says she doesn't have it, or if she does have it, it's not actually amnesia, it's just memory problems in general. You know, sometimes you remember something, sometimes you don't, something like that. And as I said, I don't even think the writers who wrote, you know, the script were thinking this far ahead. Like, it's just so much work. I don't think the writers did it. I think they just came up with a simple concept for Dory, the character, and just kind of went with that. However, I could be wrong. I don't know. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, possibly share with a friend if you're new, and subscribe to join the family. Also, make sure you go subscribe to The Film Theorist. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Boop!